Hello and welcome to the Tomcast. I'm Tom, president and dictator for life of 515comics.com. First up, I have more news about podcasts. Like I mentioned last week, Maddie and I did a show with David G during Icon, and after Icon, David G and I actually recorded another show, which was just he and I. We talked over Skype, and so again, if you're tired of looking at me, but for some reason you still want to hear me do talk noises, that would be a really good option for you guys. David and I talked about some ways that you can keep people interested. We talked about selling stuff at conventions and how to kind of make money at conventions and get people interested in stopping and talking to you at conventions, which is something that I've talked about on the Tomcast before. But he had some interesting ideas. And anyway, it's an alright show. You should give it a listen. Because again, it's got me in it, and also another guy, and we talk about comics, which is what I always talk about on the Tomcast, almost exclusively. So if you watch this show, you'd probably like that show. Anyway, just check it out if you want. I'll put a link down below again. So there you go. So along that same line of thinking about how to get people interested and how to sell stuff at conventions, something that came up this week, I was talking with an older friend of mine, and we were discussing, he asked me if I sold prints. And now this is something I'm not sure I've talked about on the Tomcast before, but I've always been kind of iffy about the idea of selling prints at conventions. The thing is that, I'm there to promote Nextus, which is my story. And telling it graphically in comic format is just how I've chosen to tell my story. I don't feel that I'm a really accomplished artist, and I never really claimed to be one. I don't spend a whole lot of time on the art for each page because the more important thing to me is to actually get more pages done and tell the story. So I feel like I've got some decent art, and I don't think I'm a bad artist, but by no means would I say that that's the draw, is that the draw to my table is that I have awesome art. But he made a couple good points. Where one, it's just something, prints are a good way to have kind of a medium cost item. Now, again, I've talked about this before, that I'm not really comfortable drawing other characters that aren't part of my story or aren't things that are related to what I'm doing. So I don't think I'm going to rush out and start drawing, Marvel and DC characters to try and get people to come over to my booth and talk to me. But he brought up that it's hey, you know what? You're not about the art, that's fine. Just pick out the coolest looking scenes in your comic, blow them up, and make them into prints. It doesn't cost you a whole lot to make them. It won't take up a lot of space, and it won't be heavy to transport. And then you've got more stuff available for people to look at and buy. And it can be related to what you're doing. And so, after talking to him about it and thinking about it a little bit, I'm like, you know what? I probably do have a couple things that would make decent prints, and it wouldn't be too expensive to get them made. And yeah, it's why not at least give it a shot? So that's definitely going to be something I'm going to do. So I was looking through some of my drawings for Nextus and just thinking about, okay, well, what could I draw that wouldn't take me a whole lot of time, that would be a cool print? And of course, I would really like to do something with the Hooded Man. I have this old drawing of the Hooded Man that I made ages ago that could probably easily be updated and made into a pretty cool print. I should stand over here so that it's easier to put them up on the screen. Yay! Editing! Also, I looked at the chapter covers, and some of my chapter covers I think are pretty good. I mean, that's where I put in the most effort. I actually do some shading. Especially chapter 15, the cover with 115 punching stuff or about to punch stuff. That looks pretty good. I think chapter 8 maybe has the really cool, picture of pictures. That's kind of a fun one. So anyway, I mean, I feel like I could really kind of run with those and actually do prints. So I'm going to give it a shot. We'll see how it turns out. And that's my plan. I'm going to start working on those ASAP. And then, yeah, I don't know what's going to happen next week. Maybe I'll talk more about it, but I'm not even going to guess. I don't even know. It'll be Christmas. It'll be after Christmas. Crassmuss. I hope y'all have a good Crassmuss. So, and if you don't do Crassmuss, then I hope you have a good, other thing, or just a good week of December. Anyways, I gotta get to the place.